I wish to see in food system an approach that is sustainable.
I therefore see a future where we are taking care of the soil so as to protect the microorganisms that live in harmony with our crops and plants.
Join our campaigns in supporting, recognizing, and protecting agroecology markets where everyone is a driver for change, and it starts now.
This is the change I wish to see.
This episode is all about visions of the future in terms of sustainable food systems.
You know, true empowerment and sustainability requires developing communities of self-reliance on one's own terms, without harming others or the environment for today, tomorrow, and for generations to come.
And this process can start by building, recognizing, and celebrating community-based knowledge and equipping individuals with the skills they desire to thrive and be healthy over the long term.
I'm really excited about listening to some visions for the future today. For this episode, we are joined in the studio by Florence, who comes from Gweru in the Midlands province, and Basil, who has been working with women from across rural Zimbabwe. They took part in the Co-Create Change Storytelling Workshop program, from which this podcast series was born, and will be guiding us through some of the visions of change. Welcome to the show today, and over to you.
Our journey with visions for the future begins with Komborerai Paradza from Chivu, Mashonaland East.
I want to borrow Dennis Kimbrough's quote. He said, make your breaking point, your turning point. So personally, I witnessed our government in Zimbabwe giving younger people food to eat. That is when I realized it's time for action. It is a good idea to give people fish, but it is also of paramount importance that people are given knowledge. People are equipped with the skills that will take them a long way in pursuing a future that is full of life, a future that is full of hope. So personally, I wish to see in food system an approach that is sustainable.
Kombo's visions for the future centers on empowering individuals with knowledge and skills rather than only providing emergency relief. It is about building long-term solutions through education and skills development. He advocates for a shift away from short-term aid to long-term empowerment, highlighting the need for systematic change in our food systems.
Yes. Thanks, Florence, for sharing that excerpt from Kombo. Proud Nyakun from Zimbabwe in Marange, Manicaland province, also shares a vision for enhancing food and nutrition security through empowering communities, especially women, and diversifying our farming practices. Proud's video story puts forward a vision to address the impact of high temperatures and erratic rainfall on crop reliability in Marange. She proposes poultry farming as an alternative, focusing on capacitating women to run poultry projects for income generation and food security.
Among the projects that could be started, there is poultry keeping. This is because most women in the rural areas already keep chicken and they have the resources to make a chicken run. And also the inputs are very cheap and the stock food can be locally sourced. Therefore, what is needed is simply to capacitate the communities to approach it as an income generating activity. So I will be capacitating my own community members, especially women, to take up poultry projects for income generation, keeping chicken, feeding hens for egg laying, and finally putting the eggs for sale and incubation are the changes that I wish to see women making.
Proud's vision for the future is uplifting and a focus on empowering women through poultry farming and taking control of the value chain could help to achieve food security and economic stability for rural households.
I love this idea. Our friend, Cosmas Sunguro, also in Marange, has always been deeply concerned about the growing threat of food insecurity in their community. As mentioned in Proud's story, the area had become increasingly prone to droughts. made worse by the effects of climate change.
Driven by a sense of responsibility and hope, Cosmas turns to beekeeping as a solution.
With beekeeping, we get nutritional benefits, medicinal benefits, as well as economic benefits. Beekeeping is not a complicated project. The community needs to be trained on beekeeping first. When it comes to materials, they are generally affordable. For example, beehives cost around $25. The bee's suit is approximately $30. From honey, we can get some honeycombs. We can also get body butter for our bodies. We can also get some candle wax and propolis. Lip balm is one of the products that we can get.
Yes, in the humble practice of beekeeping, Cosmas sees a way to not only address immediate food crisis, but also to provide long-term economic and health benefits. Cosmas believes beekeeping is a game changer, and he envisions it as a strategy to help local communities to thrive, even in the face of ongoing droughts.
Next, we hear from Melody Sengwe in Harare, who is passionate about revitalizing and modernizing our indigenous food systems.
Our indigenous food systems is awakening as ultra-processed food is not so recommended by health practitioners. This has made traders to winnow and hand-process small grains as there is growing demand for indigenous, healthier food. Most of our small grains and dried vegetables have soil in it. New consumers end up rejecting nutritious food as a result of greed. I joined Knowledge Transfer Africa in 2015, linking farmers to markets, building sustainable networks, and lobbying and advocating for safe food and trading. I thought it is a very tough process, manually processing small grains. It is like removing soil from sand. Government should invest in agribusiness sector through investing in threshers specifically for small grains. Smallholder producers should be trained how to pick and process dried vegetables without interfering with soil. Climate justice is served by growing crops and keeping animals that suit our climatic regions. Join our campaigns in supporting, recognizing, and protecting agroecology markets where everyone is a driver for change, and it starts now.
Listening to Melody's vision, I recall the story shared by Mngedi Sinyati Bulawayo. Remember Mngedi Basil from episode 7?
Yes.
He is a champion of the Kalahari Boer goat in Bulawayo, a breed known for its resilience and rapid growth. Mngedi and the Matonjeni Kalahari Goats Consortium have a vision to improve goat management and create a more equitable food system by reducing reliance on middlemen.
Kalahari goats survive even under minimal rain, making them easier to raise than larger livestock such as cattle, which perish quickly during a famine. With looming droughts caused by climate change, Kalahari goats have shown that scarcity can be turned into sustenance. That is why we got together to form the Matogenic Kalahari Goats Consortium. Our goal is to work with researchers and policymakers to teach my community how to manage these goats in a way that benefits both us and the environment. We need people in my community to understand how to breed, feed, vaccinate, and market these Kalahari Boer goats. We also imagine a farm-to-fork scenario in which we cut the middleman factor because middlemen capture up to 55% of the value created in the goat value chain, leaving villagers with almost nothing. As we empower each other with expertise, resources, and experiences, we become change agents ourselves.
Integrating animal husbandry with crop farming and growing a variety of different cereals and vegetable crops. Choosing varieties and a breed suitable to the local conditions will strengthen food security and creating new economic opportunities.
And like Melody argues, establishing and promoting agroecological and organic food markets is crucial, as increased demand for foods produced in this way requires better processing and marketing infrastructure.
Agreed. One of the key themes that emerged from our story cycle was the foundational importance of soil health. In a video story, which you can check out on our website, Linda Gabriel of Kutama shares an inspirational vision for the future, one that she is actually living herself right now.
When a mother is not feeding her children with nutritious food, the children will suffer from malnutrition. The same goes for the soil that is surrounding us. Here in Kutama in the Zimba district, our soils are sandy, lacking organic matter. Monocropping is vastly practiced and crops are not rotated. Having learned permaculture in 2019, I've been sharing knowledge on how to improve our soil health to lessen the financial burden of buying synthetic fertilizers. With locally sourced materials, I keep my gardens mulched. The mulch later decomposes, adding organic matter to our soils and retaining moisture. I employ companion planting. For some plants fix nitrogen into the soil and other plants repel pests. This works well for a simple household like ours. I am forever making composts using dry leaves, dry grass, manure from our livestock, our chickens, and our ducks. This is the change I wish to see.
Linda tells us how her adoption of permaculture techniques, including mulching, composting, and companion planting, has improved the soil health and reduced dependence on synthetic fertilizers. Her holistic approach also includes making biofertilizer and planting trees for soil enrichment.
And this links with the final story from our group, from the late great Dr. Tsitsinya Mpingiza from Harare, who provides a broader perspective on food security through the lens of biodiversity and soil health.
Indeed, food and nutrition security is in the biodiversity of nature's offerings, above and below ground. I therefore see a future where we are taking care of the soil so as to protect the microorganisms that live in harmony with our crops and plants. I leave you with these questions. How can we make this happen?
Its insights into the role of biodiversity and microorganisms in food security taught us about the importance of maintaining healthy living soil as well as diverse food systems.
Yes, promoting soil health and biodiversity is an essential aspect of building resilient food systems, and several of us expressed hopes for a future that nurtures healthy soil and that regenerates degraded and damaged environments that have not been properly cared for in the past.
What an insightful program, Basil and Florence. Thank you for joining us in this episode of the Co-Creating Sustainable Food Systems series. The episode has focused on the theme of visions for the future.
Yes, and the stories shared remind us that building more sustainable food systems requires empowering communities on their own terms, whilst nurturing and healing the soil, our whole environment, for today, tomorrow, and for generations to come. This process can start by building, recognizing, and celebrating community-based knowledge and equipping individuals with the skills they desire to thrive and be healthy over the long term.
To see our visions become reality, we would like to see policies put in place to diversify rural livelihoods, providing diverse training and resources for enterprising farming practices like poultry projects, beekeeping, and goat husbandry to strengthen food security in drought-affected areas, but also ensure that each area has a diversity of projects instead of oversaturating villages with poultry projects so that they have no chance of selling a chicken in the local market.
Let's see funding and support for bottom-up initiatives that are being led by local innovators to promote sustainable agriculture and post-harvest management, enhancing food security, environmental health, and community well-being.
Encourage tree planting, reforestation, and agroforestry to combat climate change and improve ecosystems, restoring natural habitats and enhancing biodiversity.
Policy should foster a systems approach with cross-sector collaboration to create interconnected sustainable food systems that balance human and ecological needs.
And finally, let's foster collaborative partnerships We need to build and strengthen partnerships between community members, local leaders, non-governmental organizations, and civic organizations to effectively address food security and environmental challenges through collaborative, multi-scale approaches. Thank you for joining us for this episode on Visions for the Future. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your network. Stay tuned for more stories that inspire and solutions that drive positive change. You can listen to more inspiring stories of change and get further information by visiting our website. Check it out by searching Co-Creating Sustainable Food Systems Story Map or follow us on YouTube.
This has been Rudocha Kanyuka
and Sydney Mangweka.
On behalf of the Co-Create Change team, thank you for listening.